Pull plenty of ribbon off your roll to start with when you're going to tie ribbon round a box. You need to have enough ribbon to go the length of the box with about 10 to 12 inches at the end that you can tie a bow with. Take the ribbon lengthways around the box and with your thumb hold the two pieces of ribbon overlapping at the top. Then take the ribbon at 90 degrees around the box so you've got a flat crossover on the back, and you can measure the two ends of the ribbon, the two tails, to be the same length. Cut the ribbon off, and with the second tail thread it through the top right corner of the crossover and pull it through on the diagonal. At this point, you can move the ribbon around. You can move the crossover to be exactly where you want it to be. Once you've done that and it's in position, tie a little holding knot, just a single knot, to keep it in position. Satin ribbon like this is quite slippery, and if you tie your bow without holding it in place, it will slip. With the crossover, always bring that from the top down and push your second loop through so that you get a nice neat bow with both tails coming down. Then trim the ends of the ribbon, just fold it in half and trim on an angle so that you have a V shape or fishtail in the end of your ribbon, which will prevent it from fraying. And there we are, you have a Tiffany style tied bow on your box. I'm going to show you how to make a nice loopy extravagant bow with florist ribbon. This is a standard 40mm wide florist ribbon and a thin tying ribbon or curling ribbon. You're also going to need some scissors and some sticky tape. So first of all, you need to take plenty of ribbon off the reel. Don't be trying to unreel the ribbon whilst you're making the bow. Make a loop with the ribbon that is about the size of the loop you want, or the loops that you want on the top of your gift. So that loop needs to be roughly the size of the bow. Then hold the inner edge of the ribbon in place with a piece of sticky tape. Once you have that secured, then you need to layer the ribbon up until you've got about 10 layers, and you can count the sellotape each time it goes underneath your fingers. You know that's another layer. Just pull the ribbon through like I'm doing to make the layers. Tap it every so often to keep them together and level, and then eventually, when you have your 10 layers, cut the ribbon off, but cut it off at the same point on the loop as the first edge where you began winding the ribbon. You need to stick this edge down with another piece of sticky tape. Then take your scissors, having put your big reel of ribbon out of the way, that the cut edges are in the middle. Cut through the whole piece of ribbon. This effectively gives you 2 pieces of ribbon to make 2 bows. Keeping that cut edge in the middle and on top. Take your scissors, go halfway down, then halfway of the half, and then cut the corner of the ribbon off so that the ribbon almost comes to a point. Don't cut all the way through, because if you do, it'll fall apart. Do the same the other end, cutting off the corners of the ribbon from approximately 3/4 of the way down from the halfway point. Then take some tying ribbon and reverse the loop of ribbon so that the cut edges are in the middle. Then tie them in place with your tying ribbon. Make sure that you tie a nice secure knot. Once you've done that, you need to look for the edges of the ribbon and gently peel back the sellotape and just finish them off by cutting a V shape. Take your time doing this. Some people don't bother, but I think it's quite a good thing to finish the ends of the ribbon off properly. This ribbon, being polybow, won't fray. Now, having got the 2 tails of the ribbon pulled to one side, you now need to pull out the loops of your big bow. So, each time you pull, just twist the loops to one side or another. Twist them all in different directions, and it is the twist at the base of each loop that will hold all of these loops in place and make you a nice extravagant bow. Obviously, the larger your bow, the more extravagant it will be. Keep going with pulling and twisting until all of the loops are turned out, and then you can either use your tying ribbon to tie the bow onto something such as a bottle, or you can cut the ends of the tying ribbon off, as I'm going to do. Take some double-sided tape and apply that to the bow. However, bows always stick better and don't come off so easily if you actually put some adhesive tape on the gift as well. So that's what I'm doing here first. Underneath the bow, where it flattens out a little, just pop a couple of pieces of tape on there. And then gently press the bow in place. And the gift is finished. This is another bow done similarly, where strips of the ribbon have been used to decorate the box first. This type of ribbon can be stuck using clear tape to the box, and it also tears, so that you can tear the ribbon in half and decorate with full width and a half width on top. Stick the ends of the ribbon on the top of the gift so that the bow can be stuck on top of the ends. How to make a cheats bow. For a cheats bow, you need one piece of ribbon, or if you want a slightly more fluffy one, then 2 pieces of ribbon, probably about a foot to 18 inches in length. This is a soft, satin-edged chiffon ribbon, which I'm just going to cross over into a loop. Then bring the back of the loop forward to the point of crossover and just pleat it between your fingers and thumb. Then take a piece of thin tying ribbon, either a sheer ribbon such as this one, which will blend in, or maybe a contrasting ribbon if you would rather, and tie it around the centre of the bow. Make sure that you tie a good tight knot. You can see that the tying ribbon is very sheer and doesn't show once it's in place. You then repeat the process with the second piece of ribbon. And if you have a second piece of ribbon, you then need to tie the second bow on top of the first. Again, make sure that the knot is secure. And with 2 bows, one on top of the other, you will have a nice fluffy bow that will tie well onto a bottle or stick onto another type of gift, however you wish to use it. The final touch is to trim the ends of the ribbon. So cut those into a V shape or fishtail. This is particularly important with these soft ribbons because they will tend to fray. The bow can then be tied around the neck of a bottle, such as this one. If necessary, you could use adhesive tape to stick the bow onto a gift. So with a very small amount of ribbon, you will have actually made a very pretty bow. How to make a fragment bow. For a fragment bow, you just need some oddments of ribbon of a suitable size, usually 4 to 5 inches in length. I'm all in favour of using up oddments of paper and ribbon. Otherwise, gift wrapping can be a very wasteful process. I've got a selection of trimmed pieces of ribbon here, trimmed with a fishtail in the end. You simply scoop them all up together, and with a piece of thinner tying ribbon in a similar or complementary colour, or contrasting colour even, you just pleat them in the middle and tie in place. Once you've tied them with a little bow or something like that, a shoelace knot, then you can just fan out all of the pieces and you have a cute little bow that's made from nothing but oddments of ribbon. Then this can be attached to something such as a gift pouch using some double-sided tape. Always remember to put tape on the gift and tape on the bow. And with this particular bow, in a couple of minutes, with a few oddments of ribbon just trimmed in a V shape on the ends, fishtail, to prevent them fraying, you have a cute little bow that will finish off a small gift very nicely. Ribboning a big package. For a package such as this one, big and bulky, it's good to have a nice ribbon with a big fluffy bow. So tie the ribbon around your package in the first instance in the same way as you would if you were ribboning a box and using a modified Tiffany tie. Start with the ribbon so that there is probably about 6 to 8 inches at the top of the gift. Take the ribbon lengthways around the gift and then holding the ribbon in place at the top underneath at right angles and back to the starting point. Then cut off the other ribbon tail so that you have 2 tails, one passing diagonally underneath to the opposite corner of the package. Move your crossover around until you're happy with it and then tie the 2 ends of the ribbon. So this looks much the same with a flat crossover underneath as tying a ribbon around a box. At this point, however, things change slightly. Instead of just tying a Tiffany bow, a shoelace bow if you like, with the tails coming down, you need to take your ribbon again and wind a few layers of ribbon around your hand. You don't need to have a full 10 layers, such as you'd have perhaps for a big, fluffy, loopy bow, but probably 6, 7 layers, something like that. As with the poly ribbon bow, cut the ribbon off on the outside at the same point on the loop as it started on the inside, and then cut away the corners, making sure that the ends, the start and finish, remain in the middle. Then open it out so that it becomes a bow tie shape, and then place the centre of the cutout area, the knot of the bow tie so to speak, on the knot of the ribbon on the parcel. And at this point tie it securely in place with the tails of the ribbon on the parcel, on the gift. Once secure, then you can simply pull out the loops of ribbon into a nice fluffy bow in the same way that you would with a poly ribbon bow. Just pull and a bit of a twist. Once it's all fluffed out, then just trim all your ends. You might like to leave one or two a bit longer. The ones actually within the loops of the bow you might trim a little more short. And then you have a nice fluffy bow to sit on a large package and draw the eye. There we are. This is a useful technique for a lot of packages. Whilst ribbon is an excellent way to decorate a package, and there are lots of ways of using ribbon, a few of which you have been shown, you can also decorate a package with lots of other things. These are just a few suggestions. I quite like to use paper flowers, wired paper flowers, so they have a wire stem. You can wind a few of the stems together and then use that either to decorate maybe a jar top or a cylinder wrap or some such. Flowers can also be made from fabric, such as these two. These are just made using buttons and little pearls for the centre, and made either out of sections of fabric stitched together or a long piece wound round. They have a felt backing so they can be stuck on. Similarly, with a cone, pine cones, these are very good festive decorations. You can also buy little berries that go with them. And if you have some of this coated flexible florist wire, which is quite reasonably inexpensively available, you can wind that around to form a basis for attaching the cones to a gift, either singly or in groups. You can also spray cones, white, gold, that sort of thing. Ribbon can also be used to make a variety of different styles of flower. This one is made by using a ribbon loom. This is a loom and it makes a daisy type flower, such as the orange flower with the yellow centre here. That's quite a simple, straightforward way to make a flower, which can be attached to a wire with some felt on the back, and you then have the option of either sticking it on or using the wire to wind around something. You can also make ribbon roses, or you can make gerbera style flowers by using sections of ribbon and attaching wire to them, either a stiff wire or a soft flexible wire. And then there's string. String is something that can be used in all sorts of forms. There are lots of beautiful coloured strings. It's very much associated with the shabby chic style of gift wrapping. Just ordinary string is perfectly acceptable for that, and brown craft paper. So string should never be discounted. Of course, there's also raffia and all kinds of other things, little beading centres that can be put into flowers, all sorts of things. So the sky's the limit, and these are just a few ideas to go away with.